In this video, we're going to look through 6 different requested Depop stores and give feedback on where they could improve to get more sales. What's going on, everybody? My name is Spencer Line, and in 2012 I set up a vintage clothing brand called Gully Garms. I then last year had to close it for some issues and reasons and all that sort of stuff. Videos explain it. And now I'm here wanting to give value back to people, to you guys who want to be sellers or anything else of that nature. We go onto Depop and I basically look through the pages and we review them. So I've got 6 stores today, and the first one we're going to start with is the Hennessy Archive. We found you. Sorry, that might have been my issue. I didn't realize, so when you search on Depop for stores, it's super case sensitive. So if you're looking for someone in particular and you don't search the exact way that the name is, I don't think you're gonna find them. 69 feedback, 130 sold. That's an insane. That's 1 in every 2 people that have bought, you've got a feedback. Let's go onto the page and review it. Now I can already see sales, but I can also see something that's grabbing my attention quite quickly, and I'm going to address it. With all considerations to this, what I'm going to do today is just let you know that the feedback that I share with you is of my own personal preference based on my own experiences. You may have success doing something different. However, me here is just to merely give you another point of perspective. If you choose to use it, the camera, the way you're taking them, I know you're doing them freehand because that looks so far away in comparison to that. There's a different perspective at foot, and I know that this is all handheld stuff done at a slight angle. And just a quick tip for anybody who's looking for backgrounds, go on Pinterest, search abstract background, and just go and get one from there. If you want to go with this background feature and this look, go and have a little look at a few different ones. Go and look at real minimal ones and basically just test different products on it. Off the back with the feedback, I'm gonna be real genuine here. The first thing I notice is that you've got 69 reviews and 130 sold. So whatever you're doing on the customer service side, it seems spot on. The issue I have with the presentation and the aesthetic is that there's a slight element and a feel of an unprepared nature. Now this to me feels slightly unprepared. If we look there, I think what most people do when they do this is you'll try and cut out the picture from the background and select the subject. But what you have to notice, parts like this are always going to happen if you don't assess the whole image and make sure that the quick select tool, if that's what you're using, is selecting it all. You can see little bits of dust, little bits of specks. The main thing with this, try and show close-ups where you can of the faults like this, because otherwise you may mention it in the description, but it's just good for people to know that you've acknowledge the closer picture. When we come to the fold, maybe I'll make videos at a point, but there's a certain element to the fold where you've got, so at the minute, this is quite hunched in. So like the whole shoulders have gone, you can't see like the sort of width of the shoulders. So what you need to do is work with where that stitch is on the back of the sweatshirt and fold it in, I would say, a more polite way. Good information, I would just say add the measurements, pit to pit and back of neck to hem. It just saves the job of people messaging you and asking for that. Everything's a relativity. If you're new to doing the selling thing, you're going to just learn in new ways. But one thing that you have to master, especially with this, the art of the placement of the camera, just trying to find a middle ground with where you can be consistent. Again, consistency is key. Consistency through the reference of your relativity to the people who see you, i.e. if the pink background is your thing and you just do it, get a hex code, which is the number for the color palette that you need on the back. Try and find one unique, make sure nobody else is really using it, and then work on creating a simple process with how you take the photos. One of your biggest things to focus on, rather than the measurements and stuff, which will come, working on the way that the item is represented. So just watch out on the where that's cutting the shoulders off. Remember, you can't see the shoulders, you can't see it on the material. So when you go to the fold that's here, try and fold it so it's like that, more than straight down. It kind of needs to sit a bit further out and be at an angle, okay? Because of where you're at with your sales, this is a work in project Depop. So I'm not going to actually give any reviews today. I would say work on the placement of the camera when you take the photos. Don't worry about the background so much. Just let's focus on getting the items as nice and neat as possible. The consideration for the measurements in the background are always useful. Big up the Hennessy Archive. Back in the day vintage. Let's have a look if it's this one. Yes, I thought it was VTG. Okay, 2,000 items sold, 1,155 feedback. Okay, so when I said the other day about 1 in every 10 feedback on a video, this is 1 in every 2. So back in the day vintage has scaled up while still maintaining where he's at. These photos are clean. I will say off the bat, I don't like the diagonal stuff. I don't know what the intention with that is. Is that to confuse me, to skew my shot so I look at it in a different perspective? I'm not one of them people that's like, it's gotta be straight and it's gotta be aligned, because you know I like the elevated movement. But for me, one element when I see this is I'm just like, this is the best time to use the word skew if. Areas that I can't fault, your feedback ratio versus your sales and the way that you've lit the lighting with the white. It actually has a different element in this white background. It feels more like a studio than a backdrop. The shadow is tasteful. The use of the images that you've gone with are very spot on. Look at that. 4 different types of measurements: the height, the length, the width, and the length of the strap. The length of the strap is a measurement that most people won't ask for, but the people who want to buy will definitely ask. The more obscure a measurement is, the higher the chance of including it will encourage a sale, because the person that's more likely to buy an item that's expensive will want very specific bits of information. £325 for a Burberry bag, holy mackerels, that's mental. But it's a rare, authentic, vintage, early 2000s one, and it comes with the dust bag. My first feedback is that I don't really like this diagonal thing, but I think that might be your aesthetic. I'm gonna ride with that for a minute, and we're just gonna kind of move on to a few different bits. Fendi, you are not offending me. Let's have a little look. Pit to pit, pit to cuff, blooming out. You go out on the measurements, you know? But again, there's a law to it. The higher the price you charge, the more I would feel obliged to add every single bit of information. I would flip and go and find out who was the previous owner. You wouldn't really. You only buy secondhand cars, it will tell you how many previous owners they've got, because there's leverage in them knowing how many people have owned it, because it helps with people buying. So have a look at the feedback. I'm assuming that we're all on 5. Look at this. Okay, so there's not been that many feedback. This has been like success that maybe you've built back in the day. Didn't mean to even do that. I love the jewellery perspective. Okay, we've got a modelled shot in the house. We've just got one thrown in because. Nice. Personally for me, I think that the white clear background screams, I've gone to Jessup's and asked them to take a portrait photo of me. And I mean that with all due respect. The clear white background is only like practical to use, I'd say, with flat lays, when you can manipulate different parts of the background. Photos are really nice. Choice of images are really nice. The pure white background on models, not for me. The main things that we've got to look at here is a 1 in 2 feedback to sales. The first person I've seen to use so many measurements, and that might be one of the reasons why you have such good success with sales and also feedback. It's because you add every bit of information. Critique I have based on what I see. It's nice to continue some variety. It seems that you're doing that. My biggest thing is the diagonal thing. To play devil's advocate, if that's how everybody else looks and you do that and nobody else does that, then you're standing out. There's part of me that thinks you was just like a high-end Burberry seller and then you've just got a random Tommy jacket and a Levi's one. I think overall, this store's really good. I think that the process that you've done is great. This is somebody who understands what they're using Depop for. My preference on the diagonal is my own personal take on that. I wouldn't do that because I don't like that. Scoot vintage. Let's scoot on over to you, my dude. And you're not here either, so I wonder if you've put vintage rather than VTG. Let's have a little look. Thanks for checking out the shop. DM me if you have any questions. Nice. So this is somebody who's very new to the crew. Ooh. Firstly, sort the consistency out of the placement. Look at that. That's central. Where's that gone? If that was the same item, I would be close to thinking it was stop motion animation. The lighting you've captured, the placement of the lighting you've got on this one is beautiful. And the way that I can see the natural light and how you're getting this item shown is beautiful. Like, look at that, mate. It's sold, but look at that. I would never put a photo up like that because just horrendous with the hood out. And I mean that with respect to whatever you're trying to build and whatever you're trying to do. Just work on centralization. When most brands work on shots where they kind of do these off-centered things where they cut parts out, there's always a central image that shows the item perfectly. This is sold. And I don't really have any grounds to critique it because it's sold and it worked. That's a nice t-shirt. I guess the other thing that not a lot of people seem to be doing, I'm noticing this, the measurements, pit to pit and back of neck to hem. There's certain people who won't even message you because they have had bad experience with messaging on Depop and they'll go, I'm not gonna message this guy and ask for this information because the last 5 people couldn't be bothered to do it. If you do it, somebody doesn't have to think, oh, maybe I shouldn't bother asking him because they know that you took the time to do it. It goes a long way. So this one overall, I think really nice lighting on the natural look. One thing I would home in on, this. You have to understand where the light is coming from so you know where your shadow will be created as a result of that light that you're shooting onto your item. Where you're stood needs to just be changed. You need to compromise this, whether you mirror the item at a 180 to the left so that it's upside down and you stand on the other way, because that way then the shadow won't be on the shot. You've just got to make sure that that's not there. I wouldn't even think that and that are the same seller. So work on the consistency and the photography, and if you get time, add the pit to pit to the back of neck to hem. That's what my feedback would be. You've got some really nice items, but the photography is a main point just to centralize in on. Keep using different backgrounds, right? Just work on homing in on the consistency. So rather than trying to change everything, work on trying to get as central to the shot as possible. Find out where you have to be to do that. Try and work on different lighting setups where you don't get your shadow. Just slowly start to implement measurements into the description and see how your sales improve. Billy Fish, let's have a look. Billy Fish, let's have a little look. No products, no followers. Was this a punk? Right, so let's check out vintage. Just a quick one. Oh, okay, nice. For anybody who wants me to review their store, if you dare, drop your comment with your Depop handle and I'll do this in the next video. So I love the blue. I actually really like the blue. I don't know how I feel about it sitting on ones like that. Again, it kind of comes down to the invertency of using the same colors on different backgrounds. So the greens and the blues sort of don't blend with it so much. I think you could almost group different colors together and separate them on different backgrounds. So your turquoises and your greens and your blues, they could probably be on a gray background. Maybe try that and then use the inverse color for the other ones. The lighting looks well. The prices are high, but the brands you are using like ACG. ACG, when did it all of a sudden just become so expensive? It's probably down on the chain of like where the suppliers are selling it or how you're sourcing it, but 165 is mental, you know. There we go, measurements in there, shoulder to hem, pit to pit, nice. That's a nice bit as well, size, fits like a large. I know this is really particular, but like you've got the emojis touching the letter, but then they're not touching the other side. For me, the consistency is on both sides. Ooh, yeah. What's Checkout Vintage doing here? Model, if pictured, is 5'8" for reference. That's such a smart thing to do, adding the same copy on the description. The photo might just be a mirror selfie with the background cut out, but the principle and the purpose of it is still the same. You're getting a shot of it in a person, and I can't fault that. This is somebody who's got, you know, the ACG, the set brands of set style. Don't shoot polos like that. It doesn't look like. The bits you've got are amazing, mate, but I would just work on different ways to take photos. I think that with a polo top, when they're short sleeve, you can actually just fold them out and take it like that and just work on a different perspective. This doesn't do the item the favor, and when you're charging 75 for it, it has to look like someone would want to wear it. And I think seeing the sleeves out like that would be better for that shot as well. It's a really nice polo as well, but that just looks a bit daft. That might be just the materials, I get that. I love this personally, the little bits of material that are raised and different perspectives on it. You guys know that that's a personal go-to for me. If you want to send this t-shirt to me, I would love that one because that looks really nice. It looks like my size. No, that's really nice. I would buy that as a result of that photo. Also with joggers, that's a good one to do. I would say another one to do with joggers, rather than having it bent down like this, so take the legs and almost whip it all the way up to the top so it's got like 45 degrees. Other than that, everything looks really good on that, so check out Vintage if you want to get some ACG. Vintage rails, here we go. 130 sold, 83 feedback. Wow, it's all positive so far. Look at that, gone clear. Another person that's going for the same approach with the white background, but also this new introduction of the raised material, it really does go a long way. You can spend hours and hours and hours cutting out all the creases, spending all this time, but essentially the movement in the items show that it's a real item. Recommended size, that's personal preference. You can only put a recommended size if you've added the measurements. If you've not added the measurements, the tag XXL says XXL. Every single brand has different measurements for every single size, and there is an average size for small, medium, large and extra large, but to cut any disruption, just add the pit to pit and the back of the neck to hem. Allow yourself enough reinforcement with things like this. I would only add a recommended size if I firstly had either a model wearing it or I'd added measurements. Pre-loved and vintage clothing, sustainable shopping, tracked 48, look at that, nice. It's just the measurements. Drop us a message for measurements. Don't worry about dropping the message, just add the measurements. The biggest thing I'm going to take from this episode we've done today is that I'm surprised with how many people don't add the measurements, and I think that by adding the measurements, you don't sit in this pool of people that go, send me a message and I'll send you a measurement. Like again, a lot of people won't bother messaging someone who says, ask me for measurements, because they would really have to care about the item they want to buy. If I really like this Lacoste jacket, I've really got to like it to send you a message because I'm almost on the verge of committing to it. Whereas if I look at it and go, oh, that's nice, it's a size large, is it? Yeah, nice, recommended size of large. Okay, it's 24 inch on the chest. Yep. Think that's, I'm about 25, 24, that perfect, yeah. Rather than going, oh, it's nice, and then going, oh, I've got to send a message. Just use that information, add it, and factor in the time that it will take you to measure. And I guarantee you, it doesn't take you as long as you think. I think you can probably do like 50 items an hour. So just factor in an hour, get 50 ready to do. You could even do your whole rail and update your products, kind of 2 in 1. That would be my feedback. Guys, honestly, also, this is the channel that you're on, so I'll just come off that. Everybody who sends in their Depop stores, please feel free to keep doing that. I love reviewing them, and I want to just keep making sure that this is useful information to you. I know that there's not a lot of information that Depop allows on their platform, so there's not so much personalization. With that, guys, I'm going to love you and leave you. Feel free to drop your Depop store down below. All I'll say is make sure that it actually is what it says on Depop, otherwise they'll have a hissy fit when I search it. Should we go on to Etsy and Vinted and eBay and ASOS Marketplace? Stay safe, stay original, stay doing you. Just try and constantly work towards somewhere where you're doing something that other people aren't. Try and think about what that would look like to you. Be curious by it. Be curious by new ideas. And yeah,